Welcome to Yeshiva Daf Shir sponsor Lu Nishma Sam Yaakov Shalom Nafas Yitzchok. We're holding it over the Zara Daf Ayin Dalad. We're starting in the Mishnah. Look at the Mishnah. Elu Asurim v'Oisrim v'Choshu. The following are Asur, and they're Oiser if they get mixed up in a mixture, they make the entire mixture Asur. Yain Nesach, that we learned. V'Avodas Kachovim, any Avodah Zara. The oiros levuvim. What's oiros levuvim? We learned earlier the oiros levuvim are when the guy used to do, they used to take out from the living animal a heart. They used to take it out live animal, make a hole, and take the heart out of the animal. And that was a type of a dessert. So the skin that came from this animal is called oiros levuvim. V'shora niskol, that's an animal that gored a person is chaviso. Short is called ve'egla rufa, which is the when we learned this week's parsha, the parsha shoftim. So when you have you find a corpse next to a city, the scale of that city have to bring a egla rufa. It's also bado. V'tzipoyre mitzayra, which is the birds of the mitzayra that went out to the world. V'siyar nazir, the hair of the nazir after he shaves when he finishes his ears. Upelter chamor, which is the redemption of when a donkey is being redeemed by a sheep. Ubasar v'chalav. Also, it's also bado. Now we have an argument over here, seer mishtaleach, the seer that goes out to the world, and as the Vilna Gaon says, that you have to take it out, which is a discussion what's exactly if seer mishtaleach is also bado or not. V'chulin shenishchetu ba'azara, chulin that were shechted in azara. Really, asuri voice because all these are asurs because all these are asuri behano. So they were the asur behano, they're asuri, now they'll enjoy it, and the asur behano and the oyster, if they mix with something else, they make it all asur. Now, in this discussion we show you here, but what comes out of the chuy, this posh shot, is that we're talking here even not all these items are not liquids, not necessarily liquids. Some of them are liquids, some of them are actual items. We're talking about also there were solids. So if there are solids, so then you have over here a yovish b'yovish, and you see that is the same din applies there as well. So what is the Tana counting? He's talking about everything which is countable enough. Remember, we spoke about it in a few places. One of the places, Beitza, that davar shebimidyon, something which you count, is davar chashuv, it's important, and is not but. What does davar shebimidyon usually refer to? Anything that you will take it as a, you don't sell it as a bunch. You don't say, okay, I'm going to sell you this pile of items. No, you sell it one by one. So it's more chashuv. It's called davar shebimidyon. So davar shebimidyon, is that the word referring to? If that's what it's referring to, so I have another thing we're not mentioned over here. Pieces of the vela, limbs of the vela, which also are sold one by one. We're talking about all Yisur no. Litinabi Chotzer Pesach. What about Chotzer Pesach is also Subano? Why don't mention that in the list of the Mishnah? So the Gemara is asking, what is the list of the Mishnah focusing on? Subano or Dovish Rubidian? Is it because it's important or because it's Subano? This Tana holds both. He's counting a list that includes both Tovash Shebemidyan and Osubano. That's what we mentioned. That's the list that this Mishnah is referring to. Why do you mention these things, these nuts and pomegranates, if they're orla, within the first 3 years of growth, or they're kilayim? We mentioned it somewhere else. The was going to mention a Mishnah and the second say orla. How do we mention that? The dosh shemini v'isura no. It's also dosh shemini. It's something things you count that are chashuv. And it's also ba'ano. Why? Because it's orlo kilayim. Hatanili also. We said we learned that already. This was already mentioned in this Mishnah of Seches Orla. So we already counted. We mentioned it. So we don't have to mention it again. Why don't we speak about Chotzer Pesach, which is also ba'ano? You say, but no, I want to count something which is Dover Sheminian. Kikar Shema Bayis. Kikar Shema Bayis is also something which is mentioned in that list. We learned in Maseches Beitza. Kikosha ba'abayis are breads of a ba'abayis. Every bread is also important. It's sold one by one. So about Shabbos Doverle, who's the Madover that said it? That it's also Mado? Rabbi Kiva. Hatadali also, Rabbi Kiva Besif of Kikosha ba'abayis. In that Mishnah in Orlo, Rabbi Kiva does mention that. So what is the Gemara saying here is anything which is mentioned in Seches Orlo, I don't have to mention over here. And this is mentioned in Seches Orlo, so that's why I don't mention over here. But what's interesting is something maybe that needs more biru is what's the idea that I mentioned here is Surah and Noah and Doshamid. Both of them, I'm saying Dova Choshu is also, that's why I'm talking about Dova Shamid. Talking about Surah and Noah, which is Oyser when it gets mixed up. So I'm talking about these two things together. What happens if you have only one of them? What happens if you have only Surah and Noah and now Dova Shamid? Maybe the bitul will be stronger. If it's Dova Shamid, but not also by Noah. So this is what we show you, we discuss what will happen in these cases. Says the Gemara, right, the places you mentioned, so that is a little bit of committed halacha if you don't have both, but I'm just mentioning the list that these two things apply. Same way, what do you come to exclude? Meaning we're coming to tell you only when you have both. It's also ba'ano and dosheminin. So it's because there's things in the list that are missing. Now, will the halacha change that list? That's what Tais talked about. Maybe not. I'll just tell you that this list is something which has the combination of something which is important and also ba'ano. Okay. Says the Mishnah. Yechezkel shenofa lebor kulu osubano. You have Yechezkel that falls into a pit full of wine. It's all osubano. Sugar I have a solution. What you can do is you go to a goy and you sell the entire pit except for the value of Yechezkel. Meaning, let's say you have in this pit 100 gallons, and you have 1 gallon of Yechezkel that fell into it. So now I have 101 gallons. Now a gallon is worth, let's say, $1. You go to the guy and you sell for $100. You don't sell for $101. You sell $100. As some should point out, you also have to specify that. Meaning you have to tell the guy, you have 101 gallons over here. You're paying only for 100. Because if not, maybe it's a discount. In other words, I have 101, I'll give you a discount. Sell you all 101 for $100. Say no, should I'm selling you only 100 out of 101. The other one will give you as a gift. Meaning it's yours. What is that extra one? That's the Yechezkel. That's a Shugabli solution for this. Says the Gemara, I don't think of Shugabli Chavis b'Chavis. I agree with Shugabli when it's separated, each barrel is on its own. So you have barrels, you have 100 barrels, and then you have 1 barrel, the Yechezkel that got mixed up. So there you can really divide each one. And then I go and sell the 100. And I give him, here's all the barrels. I have 101 barrels over here. One of the barrels over here is the Yechezkel. Now I'm not selling you because I'm not allowed to enjoy it. Sell you the other 100. But not why by why? Why? Because the 1 by 1, then I can't do it. Now Rashi explains what will be the difference between the barrels and the wine. Because I'm not going to sell that extra barrel. I'm going to throw the barrel to the garbage. How are you going to throw the barrel to the garbage? Look at Rashi. Chavis b'chavis. Teshokil chadoy, take 1. V'shadi b'na'ara. V'hina u'shtar ba'ada. Meaning, I will take, and this is something that we learned in other places you have such idea, like by Truba, Truba falls out, you do such idea, is I have here 101 barrels. 1 barrel is also. I don't know which one it is. So what I'm going to do is I'll tell the guy here, pay me for 100 barrels. I take 1 barrel as a symbolic action showing the 1 barrel I'm not selling. Even though, very possible that the 1 barrel of Yechezkel is still in there. But what I'm doing is I'm losing out what? Going to the guy, tell the guy, pay me for 100 barrels, 1 barrel I'm throwing away. So I didn't gain for the fact that the Yechezkel fell into it. Even though maybe the guy did get the Yechezkel. But if I would sell the thing for the 101 barrels, I'll gain for the Yechezkel. So what to throw away, I'm not gaining from it. And 100 barrels I'm selling. But not, if it's wine falling into a bar that I cannot split it, I don't do it. Shul and do the same thing. The same thing works. If we said now, you sell without it. וכן אמר רב אחד רבי יוחנן אפילו יין ביין, וכן אמר שמואל בר נסון רב חנינא אפילו יין ביין, וכן אמר רב נחמן בר אבו אפילו יין ביין. So they all say the wine also works. Says the Gemara, ואומר רב נחמן הלוך למעשה, בואי פסק למעשה, יין נסך יין ביין also. If it's wine mixture, you can't really split it. You can't even do that gesture because they're all one. The yine is like mixed with everything. So then I don't do this idea. The whole thing becomes also. Chovis b'chovis mutter. But if it's a barrel, I can take one barrel and throw away as a symbolic sign that I took away that barrel, then it's mutter. Stam yayin, I feel yayin b'yayin mutter. But I'm talking about stam yayin. Stam yayin means not yayin esach. Just a wine that a guy touched. They were more lenient. It's stam yayin. I'm saying they could do this concept of Shur Gamliel even if it's mixtured all together to be one. Okay, zog the word that I down the base with the Mishnah. Gas shel eved, shezovso oived kahor. I have over here a gas. A gas is the place where you press the wine. The place of the wine. Zovso kahor means he put tar on it. Now, as Rashi points out, this is a little hard for us to connect, especially this daf, with the next almost daf plus, because it's talking about technical things the way they did those days. Those days, they used to put tar to shield the area where you press the wine, and the tar used to have it in wine as well. That's how they did it. If you look at Rashi, the first Rashi Avoda, was normal to put into it wine. Purto. Lavuri kutra to take away the bad smell, the bad smoke of the tar. So they put tar, but they used to mix their wine. So this is why it's a problem. So the guy put on it this tar. Minagvo vitoya. So minagvo, we'll see, that's the next stuff. The minagvo means he puts in it water and ashes, and that removes the wine. That's good enough. That's it. That's the gas. That's made out of stone. Fish aids, but if it's made out of wood, you do the same thing. Water, ashes is good to go. Not enough to put water and ashes. You have to peel off the tar. Fish but made out of clay. Even if you peeled it, it's still also. I think more understands right now, there's no mechliks about that. The clay swallows more, it's a more of a problem. Okay. Says the Gemara Rova, Davko Zovso. That's only if you put it in tar. But if he just stepped on it, but he pressed wine over there. So there I don't need water and ashes, I can just clean it. So what pshito? Zofta down it says the Mishnah. Maybe it's even if you just pressed wine into it. The reason why it says Zot, because that's the normal way of doing it. That's a chiddush. Ikadari, the opposite. Because he put tar into it. But if he stepped on it and he made wine into it, there you need much more. You need to go and peel the outer layer. Pshita Zofta that again, it's a Zofta. Only Zofta applies the din of the Mishnah. But how the table will need that feel dark, but maybe even when he pressed wine to it, that's the normal way. Kamashma. Davkas also. It's not enough to do this nigu, which is water and ashes, but you have to actually peel it. So came a person from Rav Chia, it says, listen, I have to be machshir. I have to make sure that my matzarto means the wine pressing place. I need to make sure that it's kosher. Can you give me somebody that I can trust? So Rav Chia tells Rav, his nephew, Zil Ba'adeh, go with him. Make sure that he won't have any complaints. Do it correctly. I don't want any tightness afterwards. Also goes Rav. He sees the wine pressing place. He sees the what? He sees that it's very, very smooth. So probably nothing was swallowed in the walls. That's good enough to do nigu. Nigu again is what? Water and ashes. Now, how did he see as he's going around? He saw there was a crack over there. He looks at the crack, he sees there's wine there. He sees that it was absorbed in the walls of this pressing place. Here is not good enough. Not enough to do niguv, you have to do kiluv. Not enough to do cleaning, you actually have to do, you have to peel it. That's what my uncle mentioned. Make sure to do it correctly. Here, I figured out it's not going to be enough of you just to clean it up. You need to actually do more than it because it's swallowing the wine. This is the second use of it before. So when you press wine in the gas, in the place of where you make the wine, the winery, it can absorb more than only when you put the tar into it. Gas, which is the place where you press the wine. The mochatz is, Rashi says, the kli, the vessel that you take out from the pit of the wine to the barrel. The mashpech is the funnel. Rabbi Matir b'niguv. Rabbi says the niguv is enough, and which means you put water in ashes. The chum say you can't do niguv. Umoy the Rabbi bekarkani shon he agrees with the barrels of a goy. Shem asur, they're asur. Umay fresh b'zelza. What's the difference between a barrel and the funnel or the bucket? So this is a big yesod that the barrels you store wine for a long time. So once you store wine for a long time, it absorbs the wine more, and it's more of a problem. It's not enough to do war and ashes. So what do you do? As Rashi points out, you go back to we learned Daf Lamed Gimel, which is you clean it 3 times. Put water in it 3 times, 24 hours, right? You have a whole process that you put water into. That's what you do when you have wine absorbed in the barrels. But if it's used not so, even though it's used in the winery, but it's not stored there, so then you don't need so much. The shalates, so that was made out of what? As Rashi points out, that was made out of clay. Shalates or shalaven, if you talk about wood or stone, you just have to wipe it up. Meaning you have to put water and ashes. Even according to Chacham. If they have an etar, sorry. That's what our Brisa says. So the Brisa says like this. The Gemara understands. Talking about clay, so it's a machlokes Rabbi Chacham. Rabbi says you can do niguv, which is water and ashes. Chachamim say no. Now, if it's made out of wood or stone, so then everybody agrees that you can do water and ashes. But if it has clay, tar, not. So once I understand. What about our Mishnah? If it's made out of stone, and it says that water and ashes works on tar, and you just said that if it has tar, it doesn't work. Stira from the Mishnah to this Brisa. Says the Gemara, Mistisa de loy dorach bo, Baraisa de dorach bo. So we'll tell you the difference. The Mishnah is talking about that he just put the tar. He prepared the winery, put tar on it. So the tar is mixed in wine. So the solution is you put water and ash, you take it out. The Brisa speaks about that he put the tar and then he pressed wine into it. So you have here a double issue. First issue is that the tar has wine in it. And second, he also pressed wine in it. So now it becomes also in water and ashes will not help. So that's what do you have to do for that? To do kiluf, you have to peel it out in that case. Go back to the beginning of the brayso. You talk about the gas, the place we press the wine, the mochats, which is the bucket, and the mashal is the funnel. Rabbi allows with water and ashes. And our Mishnah says that if it's made out of clay, even though you peel the tar, it's still asur. The Gemara understands there's no machlokes about that because Mishnah not making machlokes. Amar Rava, no. Stay with the mastisin asam l'rabbanon. The end of the Mishnah is rabbanon. Rabbi holds that even by clay, it's good enough. I could do a I could do a what's called niguv, right? As Rashi says, when you have stone, you didn't press on it, you put water and ashes in it. If it's made out of wood, you peel the tar and you're good. That's Rabbanan. So Rabbanan says, stone, you do water ashes. Wood, you peel. Clay, you're out. You can't fix it. L'Rebbe, shall Evin v'shalates, both stone and wood, you put water and ashes. V'shal cheres yikloif, and cheres you peel. So that's what it is. That's the two sheets that we have based on the Mishnah Bryce. Understand the Mishnah. And when the Mishnah says that the cheres is also is only according to Rabbanan, not according to Rebbe. Says the Gemara, Dorosh Rava, Ne'ava Artoch. What does Nava? Nava means is the gas. The gas is called Navo. Rashi says, because it says Yetoifu Navoi B'chamar, so Navo means the winery. How do you make it kosher? Artuchu. What is artuchu? Artuchu means you put into it hot water, you pour into it hot boiling water, and you fix it. That's what you think. Now, places here, there's a very long trace here on this side. Very long, relative speaking to all the trace we had on these dapim, but what is trace talking about? The question is irui work? It's a big machlokes. Is irui considered to be kli rishon or kli sheni? When I have water heating on the fire, it's called kli rishon. Once it poured to the next kli, it's called kli sheni. But what happens to the pour itself? Does it have kli rishon or not? It's machlokes. We pass as Toys brings is that irui, it does kedei klipo. It only clears the first layer. So the reason why here, by us, in our case, by the winery, you need only to clear you need to just peel. You just clean the outer layer. So that's why pouring boiling water is good enough. But now that's enough to go more inside. So anytime you need more inside, you need a little bit more than that. Okay. So that Toys brings halacha l'maisa, big enough kamino. When you do hagala scale, which we'll get to raise Hashem the next daf, hagala scale, you have to put it on water. Can you pour the hot water? Well, it depends if you need more than a klipa or not. If you need that the hagala should more than a klipa, pouring is not enough. You have to put it into hot water. So when you used to send barrels to the place called arfanio through a goy, he used to turn their empty barrels upside down. And then he used to fill them up. What he used to do is he used to take the barrel and turn it upside down, right? Upside down. And then when he takes it upside down, this barrel, he used to put a sack into it and close it on top. So the barrel is upside down and you have a sack closing on top. That's what he used to do. Kasovar koldosha machnis l'kiyu afilu fi shah goes rabbanon. Why? He holds this is something that you put l'kiyu. What do you use barrel for? To store wine. Storing wine, as we saw before, is a problem. So if I have even empty barrels that I give to a goy, if the goy will use them, what makes it also even l'fi shah. So I have to make sure to clean it. How do you clean it? There's two. So you have to put it upside down, put it into the sack. What does that do for me? That's a discussion that we should. Rashi learns. He says like this. According to Rashi, it's a double choiso. Putting it upside down and closing it, it's a double choiso. According to many other Rishonim, it's not a double choiso, it's a one choiso, and that's good enough for the barrels because it's not actual wine. So that's a machlekes Rishonim. How much of sealing do I need to do on an empty barrel that usually you use it for storing when you have the going? We'll stop over here, and Be'ez Hashem will continue from here tonight.
I don't think I'm going to make it.